know you're gonna dig this.
Welcome to the End Zone Club, where we have conversations that are designed to push you from walking in potential to fulfilling your purpose. And introducing our host, Anthony Mitchell.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Anthony Mitchell. Just wanted to say that we have some company today, meaning I got a special guest who's going to keep it hot, flavorful. But before I introduce him, I do have to say, whatever platform you were streaming this podcast from, please give us a like, a share, a rate, a subscription. Help us to get this content out to the four corners of the world. But before we do so, we got to hear from our sponsors. So stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. This is Andre Truitt, representative for Just Gifted Clothing Brand. If you have individual talent of any kind, we are talking to you. Join this clothing brand that has built a community of people that encourages others to use their gifts and talents. Man, we are the fastest growing brand that you haven't heard of yet. To find out what we're really about, just go to justgiftedclothingbrand.com. Let me spell that out for you. JUSGIFTED clothingbrand.com. One more time for you. JUSGIFTED clothingbrand.com. Talent in any way, you're just gifted.
All right, welcome back from hearing from our sponsors here at the End Zone Club. Y'all, I'm always super duper ooper excited anytime we're able to just put new content out. Today's episode actually won't be very long because I do have a special guest lined up for Monday's pod. Don't want to give too much information, but I think this one is going to go out to parents who have children. This is for you. Without telling too much, I just want to get a little anticipation going. Also, I think I'm going to suck the air out of the atmosphere for a moment, because I have been blessed here at this podcast to produce. We're in our 7th season of podcasting, which is a lot of episodes, almost 100 episodes. We have been blessed to produce content. But I'm warring within myself over taking a sabbatical or calling it a good day at the end of 7 seasons. If you guys have been listening here on this platform, we have encapsulated conversations that are wrapped around things we know now we wish we knew when we were younger. The numbers for this podcast have been phenomenal. Actually, we've had pretty good numbers. We've had people listening, but haven't had a whole lot of interaction as much as I like with the fans. And I am the kind of person, everything I do, I am people driven. When I was a musician and I played, I always liked having that back and forth feedback with other musicians, which always resulted in the crowd being able to feel what we were playing, because it's always coming from a position that, first of all, we want to give God glory. And when God gets glory, sometimes there are corresponding feedback that you get where you know that what you're doing is a blessing to people. And when you're not getting said feedback, then sometimes you start evaluating everything you're doing in that regards to see, God, am I giving you glory with the podcast? God, am I hitting the mark with these topics? God, are the conversations we having reflective of things that people are actually wanting to embrace or hear? So I'm having that little war within myself. But in the meanwhile, before we even get to that point, I do have a special guest lined up for Monday. I am truly excited about, and I'm excited about that content. Y'all, I really didn't want to jump on today and say much. I, though, am very strategic in my placement. Anything I do always has a purpose. Also, one of the purposes of today's podcast is to let you know that we are growing. We have just put out a website. So if you want to follow us virtually / digitally and see what we're doing for yourself in the community, through ministry, and with others, you can click on our website, which I will link in the bio, but it's www.the-endzone-club.com. That's the End Zone Club with dashes in between. On there, it's just got a litany / slew of events that we have coming up. It tells about our annual summer camp, which encompasses a football camp, an arts camp, our basketball camps that we take place in, and also we might be growing even more. So I don't want to tell too much, but you gotta follow our website. Also from there, it's got links that lead directly to every episode of this podcast. Some people come in, they catch a couple of episodes, but they never go back in time from the beginning and see what we have to offer. So I want to encourage you to do that. Today's episode is just about a little bit of house cleaning, throwing some things out there and seeing what kind of response I get. And in addition, to let you guys know about the new website we have, I would love for you guys to go on, because also it's got pages that talk about our levels of sponsorships for our set events, as well as, drum roll please, for those who like to donate and sponsor and support financially, it's got abilities to do so. So I am super excited about some of the offerings that we're bringing to the table. And with that said, guys, hey, just as always, if you love this podcast and you love the content and you love some of the conversations and you went back in time and you've seen the way we've tried to shape ministry, not from a place of bread and butter preaching. I think we get a lot of that, but there are some more topics on my heart that I would like to get into, but I love feedback. So if you would like to just interact, if you've got topics that you want to hear, or if you feel like you have a phenomenal story that needs to be shared or needs to be heard or could be a blessing to people, this is the platform for you. We are not just targeting athletes because of what we do in the community with football camps. Yes, I know a lot of athletes, but that's not my niche. Anyway, if you do want to take up the offer, you can email me here at the show, anthonymitchell01@gmail.com, or even more importantly, you can go on the website. On every page, at the bottom of the page, there's a comment box that asks you for your name, email address, and a message, and I can respond and we can talk back in real time. Can we do that? Would you like to do that? Good. I'm going to count on you to do that. Let me know that you guys are listening and that the show should still go on, because if it doesn't, I'll thank God for this time and this season, and we'll move into other things. Guys, there's a lot that's going on in the news. I mean, the Jonathan Majors situation. I think I do want to have an episode about domestic violence. Me personally, do I think he did it or not? I'm withholding judgment. I always expect the best, but I always hope for the best, but sometimes I expect the worst. And this one for me has been kind of personal, because you have a young man that is on one of the greatest tears from a success standpoint, where he's put out major movies. Everything he's put out, I've enjoyed it. Hadn't watched Lovecraft Country. That's probably the only thing he's done I hadn't really gotten into. But anytime I see people just objectively being good at what they do, I just, for whatever reason, appreciate that art form. But there is a real conversation about domestic violence that we need to have. And I want to have it because more and more of our kids are experiencing assault on many different levels. Guys are assaulted. Women are assaulted. We need to talk about these sorts of things. Several months ago, during Women's Violence Month, there was a pledge through a program called TRC that was taken, and there were some guests that were supposed to come on and we were supposed to talk about some of these things, but somehow we got sidetracked. However, I won't miss that opportunity again because these are real issues and our kids need to be able to see the warning signs before they put themselves in bad situations. So we're going to talk about that. There's a lot going on with TikTok possibly being banned. There are other countries right now that are siding with each other and no longer using the backing of the U.S. dollar, which will affect our economy. So much going on in this world around us that I did want to take the time to end on this note, just reminding you that whatever you do to make sure that prayer is a part of your daily repertoire. Don't let prayer not be the foundation of your success. I am a firm believer that prayer is probably the most neglected spiritual tool / weapon that God has given us to basically bombard the heavenly realms and make our requests known to God, not just for our own situations, but for the lives of others. And when that piercing the heaven veil that comes from our prayer is not being lifted, sometimes God doesn't have permission to work in our world like he can and should. So do not see things going on around us and just naturally, because of our tendencies as humans to have feelings about things that are going on. Sometimes we utter out of our mouth disappointments. Sometimes we utter out of our mouth how we feel, but sometimes prayer is not included in that language. Just wanted to encourage you guys before I got off of here to let prayer be a part of your daily jargon at least 3 times a day. Wake up. Thank God for a brand new day. Thank God for brand new life. Thank God for new experiences. But target your prayers throughout the course of the day for things that affect other people. And this movement that is going on around us is affecting other people. I wanted to get off, but I did want to say that because coming on the tail end of COVID, people have forgotten what it's like to live in a social world where we are concerned about others because we were by ourselves. A lot of people quarantined. We forgot that we're still interconnected in this world we live in and the actions of others affect us. So when we take control of our community through prayer, when we take control of our workplaces through prayer, our relationships, friendships, you don't know from the time you leave your workplace what happens in the lives of your coworkers. Some things that you are experiencing at the hands of others are because people are fighting fights you don't even know about. Sometimes that fight rubs off on you and you don't understand why you have certain fights when you're around certain people. But those of us who are spiritually discerning understand that God takes great joy in our prayers. With that said, this is the End Zone Club that you were listening to. Please go to our website and support, and also be ready to tune in for a great episode Monday, April the 4th. And as always, guys, be blessed.